So we know from human demographic data, and there's been huge data sets collected as individuals age and what types of foods that they eat. And there's been recent publications, really high profile, with massive numbers of human study participants. And like some of them had over 11,000. One study had 100,000 individuals. So really large data sets that have shown a link between what's termed highly processed foods and cognitive decline, and also risk of dementia. Now, there's a caveat to that in that it's all correlational. And when you dive in and look at the statistics, the statistical relationship was very significant because they were huge data sets. But what we call effect size, which is like if you kind of look at it, the measurable difference between groups that you can see, wasn't that large. So it's really kind of, I think, difficult to disentangle what that means and like what the specific factors in this group of highly processed foods are doing to the brain. And this is another area where I think animal research can really enhance our understanding, because then we can dive in and look at like, okay, these highly processed foods have certain types of additives. Is this what the problem is? And then test that very directly in a way that you couldn't do with human study participants. So it is clear that if you have an unhealthy eating lifestyle, so lots of processed foods, lots of fast foods, lots of sugar, fat, salt, all the things that we've known for a long time to not be beneficial. It is very clear that affects the brain. There can be losses of synapses where neurons are talking to each other that are very critical. That works very clear. But in terms of now looking at highly processed foods, and is that anything different than just unhealthy eating habits, we don't know yet, and we need to do more work in that regard. With my own research, I haven't looked at that yet, because I've really focused on what can we do to improve brain health. But I do think that trying to understand these rich data sets from humans that are getting a lot of attention, we need to dive into that a little bit more. And I think it's, from that perspective too, that's where we can really make an impact and, hopefully affect, public health. Because if we can identify something that we know is problematic, then it's easy to remove that. But the field just isn't there yet. We need more data.